Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and I got to check out for the first time the new Battleground Deep Hull Ravine that is coming into the next expansion, The War Within. Remember that this is a beta stage of the expansion. There are a lot of things that are absolutely busted, a lot of things that are absolutely frustrating, but also that this is probably the most critical and important time to give feedback so that the game can be oriented in a way to be the most enjoyable experience and best competitive environment. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a review of this Battleground, a review of the gameplay, my experiences, and my feedback so far in the beta. I have come from playing this game purely for random battlegrounds and achievement hunting. I've competed at LANs and gone 0 and 6. I've won MLGs, and I've been casting the game at a competitive level for now over a decade, or close to a decade at least at this point. So I've seen this game from all different lenses and points of views. I'm frequently doing 0 to 2400 rated challenges on basically every specialization in the game. It is my goal to have this game be the best that it can absolutely be, because I can see the potential that it has, and I really want to make sure that is unlocked to its maximum potential. So you can see the little mini map here that I've pulled open. It is a very extensive map. It looks really complicated at first glance, and when you enter it, they've got an NPC that's going to talk you through some basic goals, and basically there's going to be carts that spawn at each bottom side and top side of these rail carts, and they're going to move towards the middle, and if you control them similar to Silver Shard mines, you can see them spawning now. When they reach that destination, you're going to gain points. There is also a crystal in the middle of the map, which you can see with this little pendulum right here that spawns. You can take this crystal and bring it back to your base, although it wasn't very obvious to us initially where to take the crystal, and you'll see that here in the gameplay that we kind of wandered around with it, not really sure where we were supposed to take it. I think adding some glowing textures to the mini map to indicate like this is where you need to take the crystal would be a good thing for anybody that's new to the Battleground. But you start right off and you've got this giant ravine. You've got mine carts towards the top left. You can use those to cross immediately to the enemy side of the map if you want to backdoor them. I thought that was a really cool addition. Now, I was hoping we'd be able to fight on that cart on the top side and like attack people from it, but it's too high, I think, at this point in order to do that, unfortunately. So you've got a choice here whether to meet the team and kind of clash in the middle, or stay back and focus on your cart, or to try and go for the crystal in the middle like a flag for Warsong Gulch. And I do like how it's kind of like splitting your attention in terms of where you want to be fighting. So a lot of my teammates were backdooring their little mine cart, distracting them, and we were able to take the crystal in the middle. So we try and push this mage away. Our hunter picks up the crystal, and our little backdoor distraction attack kept them distracted for us to get this crystal and then not know what to do with it. So we kind of wandered around because it wasn't obvious on where to take it back. You know, Warsong Gulch has got the clear indicators like this is where your flag is, so you bring the flag back there. But on this map, you pick it up in the middle, and we didn't know where to go. So we started wandering into random caves and noticed that there was this power up on the side, which is apparently the new animation for berserking. You can see it's going to increase your damage by 30%. You get this little kind of bloody glow on yourself. It's a lot different than the old school bloodthirsty enchant, so just a little kind of tweak in animation to this. But we wandered around, we kept the minecart, we tried bringing it in the minecart, that didn't work. So I noticed like, hey, this icon looks like the one in the middle, try and bring it back to that. So I'm holding this minecart, watching the hunter, and trying to make sure that he can get back to the base safely, because I see this warlock and this warrior sneaking up on him. So we're going to dot up that warlock and that warrior as much as we can, try and pressure them away, try and pressure this cart, but also protect the hunter. So the same way that you would protect the flag carrier in a Warsong Gulch. And I thought this was a cool addition. It adds this extra layer that I think something like Silver Shards is missing to it. So our hunter's doing a great job kiting away from this warrior, knocking him back, stunning him, rooting him, using those chains from the new Dark Ranger talent tree here to snare him a bit. Not the most extreme snare, but you can see that little purple chain animation going on to him. We're going to blast him with Star Surges. We are running the Keeper of the Grove, so it enables you to get a lot of Star Surges off really rapidly. And our hunter was able to bring back the flag and cap it into that base in time, and we were able to get some points. So now we're trying to figure out where we want to go from here. This is where you can cap the crystal if you were wondering. And I was thinking, like, do I take a mine cart? Do I go back down bottom? I decided to just run back down bottom and start fighting for some bases, which is now where we're going to move into more of like a team fight oriented oriented engagement. I will say from Battleground experience, the tuning of healing and damage is really haywire in a lot of cases. I think that Mistweaver healing in particular, but healing in general, and this could be one of the main problems for Battlegrounds, is if they don't add like specific tuning for this game mode. But we got a bit of a team fight engagement here as the enemies came in on top of us. We're trying to kite away, trying to pull them off into the corner away from their healer and kind of fend them off by ourselves off to the side while charging back into the middle. I really like that there's Z-axis and depth to the map. It's not just like a blank flat slate. There's rocks to line of sight. The pillars from the mine shaft or the mine carts on the top are nice little additions to fight towards the middle. I really like that there's some terrain in order to navigate around. I almost wish that there was maybe a little bit more terrain than there is in order to line of sight, but you can see we're dropping people. It's feeling like a pretty standard engagement. We get the Mistweaver monk, who I noticed was one of the most problematic healers, so we're going to cyclone the Mistweaver, try and CC them, remove some of their healing. Our minecart's coming down, so we really need to win this fight. We're behind on points of this. We can see that on the top with 700 to the Horde and only 500 to the Alliance, so this is a really important team fight. You can see that it's really tough to kill targets if there's no CC onto the healers, so I'm trying my best to kind of like focus this Mistweaver and see where they're rolling around the map, but they're not really attacking anything. They're kind of trolling a little bit in this position here, and we've got a very large variety in terms of like skill set and experience from the game. But we solar beam the monk on a heal, we're able to drop him. We're losing teammates as well. We're trying to blast through. We drop the druid, and now that they've lost their Mistweaver, their team is going to start falling apart pretty quickly. When your healer is up, you can feel like borderline invincible, and when you don't have a healer, you end up wiping really fast to the enemy team. So we're dropping in with Incarnation, we're lobbing out our Star Surge with the Keeper of the Grove, we're forcing our ice blocks from the enemy mage, and we're continuing to chase them down. It's really important to try and fight inside the base. You can see the crystal is spawned, so like if you were like a rogue in this BG, you could just focus on just trying to cap it out in the middle and cap the crystal, use blind and crowd control, and just run the crystal back and forth with high mobility. If you're more of a team fight oriented specialization like a warlock where you're just focusing on raw damage output, you could focus around trying to make sure that you're winning these mine carts in the center of the battleground. So I like that it enables multiple strategies from multiple roles to be able to have like their own unique ways to shine. We drop the warlock, we're knocking the druid out of the circle. You can see that I'm like a sumo wrestler. I'm trying to push enemies out of the circle in order to flip the cart onto the alliance side, and I'm focusing on just making sure that I stay in it. I'm using our new instant entangling roots from the new hero talents for the druid, which is a nice little addition in terms of power. Root the mage, keep him on the outside of the circle, kind of just taunting him a little bit here. I don't know why I was running out. He's just like afraid of my body. I was just chasing him and he was moving away from the circle, so I was pretty happy to just force him away. We're gonna drop our treant, so we got a bit of a 1v1 for the flag, but it does seem like even if there's one player and one player, the cart doesn't cap back, so you can control it 1v1 once you have it. Warrior comes in, Warlock jumps down from off to the side. I really like that there's a Z-axis here. You'll see in a moment all this extra terrain. I really like this. My evoker ends up using rescue on me, I think, in a moment here, and he pulls me up to the high ground. I was like, wow, this fight suddenly got a lot more dynamic after he was able to do that. So I've dotted up the whole team. I'm crashing down Star Surges, getting into clips, and this is where I get rescued up to the high ground, and I'm having way more fun now playing up here. So if like you're a Warlock, you could set your portal on top of these staircases if you know the team fight's going to be condensing down to these little choke points, which I really like. I think a lot of battlegrounds suffer from just having too much open space, not enough terrain, not enough choke points or line of sight in order to utilize. And this map does a decent job of balancing it to the point where it's not obnoxious. There are options like here with the crystal. You've got these two pillars to the side of line of sight. You can try and solar beam and root enemies and try and cap. This warrior is absolutely not going to be letting me take this crystal the second time around. Try to bash him into a cyclone to see how long the cap time was, to see if I could cap it on a cyclone. But now with multiple players coming in, I'm just going to get some distance, focus on doing damage, toss out the incarnation, and try and get some pressure going with the Star Surges. You've really got to keep an eye on where the healers are, though, in this battleground feature at the moment with the way the tuning is. You almost want to kind of like avoid them if you can. It looks like somebody on my team was able to pick up the flag, though, so he's just going to be running that through and capping that in a moment. I can see the mage over here going to go for a bit of a 1v1. Don't really want to leave my healers, though. It's probably not a 1v1 I'm going to win with how low HP I am, so I'm staying near the center where I'm hopefully in line of sight of everybody that is on my team. We can see our Warlock coming in down off to the side. It gets very hectic, especially after you res, because you can take those minecarts and start the fight from the other side of the battleground with that backdoor type of strategy, which was super unique compared to any other battleground. Just kind of just instantly get you into the fray. We can see the minecart coming down, but I think with 2 crystal caps, you can see that like our points just skyrocketed. We're already back up to 1500. We're in a really solid position, and honestly, this battleground was probably the most enjoyable out of all the ones that I had played. I don't know if I'm just like burnt out on playing silver shard mines for the billionth time or whatever at this point, but it was just refreshing to have something that was new. It played it safe with the objectives, but took the terrain in an interesting direction. And with the multiple layers of different objective play that you had, it made it feel fresh, even despite it being, you know, essentially like a capture the flag, like a mixture of Warsong and silver shot. It did a good job of keeping it fresh. I really like the intricate mine cards at the top. For me, it's all about tuning. It's making sure that we can get healing and damage in alignment where it's not miserable for healers, but also not miserable for DPS, where we have stalemates that are just endless battles versus you're getting one shot and there's really didn't feel like there was much that you can do. And I think that's the biggest problem for WoW PvP, no matter what expansion is even in Season of Discovery, we're seeing issues with that as far as PvP tuning. So my hope is that if we can get a lot of testing going with this, they're going to get a lot of data that can then be used to create the best experience in regards to that. And if they can hit the nail on the head with that, I think the Battleground was actually a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of it and my experience so far. If you did, make sure to thumbs up the video, comment down below with your thoughts. What do you think of the Battleground? What do you think it looks like to you? What types of improvements do you think could be made to it? What's the most exciting feature? What's your biggest concern? And aside from that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.